anti-Semitic tropes. Things became worse after the death of Jesus Christ. Now we know who crucified Jesus. It was the Romans. But Christian propaganda hid that for a long, long time. Now I'm throwing some dates at you, so listen closely. Jesus was crucified in the year 33 AD. Like I said, the Romans did it. Years later, in 70 AD, the Romans destroyed the Temple of Jerusalem. It was like a watershed moment. Christians and Jews saw it as divine punishment. The New Testament reflected that. Instead of the Romans, it now blamed the Jews. Jews were depicted as killers of Jesus. It's a myth, an absolute falsehood. But back then, people believed it. In fact, why back then? Even today, many people believe it. Such sentiments led to a religious rivalry, Christians versus Jews. And the church played a key role in this. They taught all kinds of anti-Semitic things, like Jews had no reason to exist anymore. Their whole job was to prepare for Jesus Christ's arrival. And since that was done, Jews had nothing more to do. Their existence was seen as an anomaly. Many of them were forced to flee. We covered the Jewish dispersion in our last episode. You can watch it here. But fleeing did not mean a life of freedom. Anti-Semitism followed them. In 312...
Dear Ms. Palki Sharma, I hope this message finds you well. I recently watched your program on anti-Semitism, and I appreciate the depth with which you explore historical topics. However, I would like to delve deeper into the segment discussing the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, where you falsely accused Christians of fabricating about the crucifixion historical account, which is a disingenuous act that should not have been expected from an important news anchor, Palki Sharma. The claim is baseless and creates confusion for some of the audiences who are watching your programs. Firstly, it is crucial to acknowledge the complexity of the crucifixion narrative. In the Gospel of Matthew 20:19, Jesus himself prophesied about being delivered to the Gentiles, Romans, for crucifixion. This prophetic statement introduces a multifaceted perspective on the roles of both Jewish and Roman authorities in the crucifixion. The biblical accounts also highlight the involvement of Jewish leaders and the crowd in the accusation against Jesus. Instances such as the repeated cries of "Crucify him" and the insistence of the chief priests are evident in various passages, Mark 15:14, Luke 23:21, John 19:6. This collective involvement suggests a collaborative decision-making process that led to the crucifixion. Furthermore, historical references from external sources provide additional insights. The Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, in his work Antiquities of the Jews, references Jesus as a wise man and reports his crucifixion at the hands of Pontius Pilate. This external validation adds historical context to the biblical narrative. Additionally, Roman historians Pliny and Tacitus also make indirect references to Jesus and the crucifixion events in their respective writings. Pliny, in his letters to Emperor Trajan, mentions Christians gathering and singing hymns to Christ. Tacitus, in his Annals, discusses the execution of Christ under Pontius Pilate. These references from non-biblical sources contribute to a more comprehensive understanding of the crucifixion. It's crucial to note that the term Christian itself emerged after the crucifixion, death, resurrection, and ascension into the heaven of Jesus Christ. This historical context emphasizes the evolving nature of religious identity and highlights that the term did not exist at the time of the events being discussed. However, your concern about potential bias or the suppression of historical facts is invalid. Historical events, especially those with religious significance, can be interpreted and presented through various such as biblical and extra-biblical sources. While religious narratives may emphasize specific aspects, it is essential to explore the broader historical context for a more nuanced understanding. In conclusion, the crucifixion of Jesus is a multifaceted event involving various historical and religious dimensions. By considering biblical accounts, prophetic statements, and external historical references, we can strive for a comprehensive understanding. Your dedication to exploring historical topics is commendable, and I look forward to any further insights you may share. Produced by Arega NEU.